creek. Walk 'em up and down in the summer heat. Same old boy changing like the seasons. Country kid turn it to a town right heathen. Country kid turn it to a town right heathen.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Old Man Van Running. Here again in the Old Man Van Cave, the Old Man Van Castle. It's exactly 3 weeks since the 2025 London Marathon. It is May 18th, 2025. Old Man Van is fully recovered. Old Man Van is back out there running. In fact, yesterday I ran the fastest road mile in New England, the Spring Street Mile in Manchester, Connecticut. And I'm going to tell you, I had a pretty good day. I actually ran a 5:47 mile. Now, it was downhill aided. I think it was about 100 feet of descent in a mile, but it was a really fun time, and I had a great time. That mile equates to maybe just about 6 flat or 5:59, so pretty darn good regardless. And I'm really happy to say I'm fully recovered and back at it. Now, I know this video is, a couple of weeks after my race video. Probably should have published this last week, but been getting my life back together after getting back to London, right? Got to get back to work, got to get stuff done around the house. It's springtime, so I apologize for the delay, but I really appreciate the support of everybody here, and back at it, and I'm looking forward to going over how the race went. If you watch my race video, you know the conditions didn't cooperate. It wasn't raining, it wasn't cloudy, but it turned out to be the warmest day in London so far this year and the 4th warmest London Marathon on record. Because of that, I had to adjust my approach, and ultimately, the goal was just to finish well, and finish under 4 hours, and that I accomplished. So now, let's get into Garmin Connect, and I'll go over the race in a little more detail. Okay, we're here in Garmin. As you know, I did a 3:54.17. That equates to 8:51 per mile. I'm going to tell you I threw my Pace Pro out the window, and the reason was I knew in Greenwich Park before the race it was already in the 60s, sun was blaring down. I knew it was going to be a tough day, and I knew I had to kind of reel the pace back in. So let's just go right down. It came out to 26.5 miles, 26 and a half. Down in Isle of Dogs in Canary Wharf, it didn't really affect me too much related to the GPS. No big issues there. I did try to follow the blue line. If you follow the blue line the entire way, you should get right on 26.2. But, I did the best I could. There was a lot of congestion out there. Narrow streets, way too many people in my estimation on that course. So, I did the best I could. And 26.5 is, that's pretty good. Let's go down to the laps so you can see my mile paces. As you can see, the biggest thing I want to point out right here is, look at my mile one pace, 8:25. Now, okay, 8:25, not bad, right? If I was going for 3:30 or better, I'd be going for 8 flat or a little below that. 8:25 is kind of a moderate pace for me. Typically, my heart rate at that pace is about 135 to 140 beats per minute. Look at where I started. I started at 151. I was hydrated. I had been hydrating, I had been getting electrolytes, and my heart rate was still elevated. That could be some from sleep, but you know what? It was still elevated, and it shouldn't have been that elevated. I know how I react to heat, especially when I'm not acclimated to it. That's typically what I see, and that's exactly what happened. So I knew right off the bat, looking at my heart rate, that it was higher than it needed to be at that pace. So right there, I realized I got to keep it at that pace, not push it too much, not try to go, I still got to get that 340. Let's just try to survive here. Keep it stable so I can get through this race upright. As we went along, you see here, I was doing pretty good. I was still in the 8s, right? Anywhere from the 18s to the mid 8s. I did have an 8:55 at mile 5. The reason I did that is I had to take a wee break. There was a Porta Johns on the side. I decided it was the right time to do that. So I probably lost about 20 seconds there. No big deal. It's the only time I had to go the entire race, so that's good. And as you can see, I did a pretty good job of keeping it right in the mid 8s. 8:20s, 8:30s. Mile 13, I had a 9:07. The reason there was that was Tower Bridge. That was me climbing over Tower Bridge, looking for my daughter, soaking it all in. The crowds were there screaming. I was videotaping. I was looking for my daughter. So that's why I was over 8 minutes there. I'm perfectly okay with that because I wanted to enjoy going over Tower Bridge. And let me tell you, it was absolutely deafening. It was amazing. If you watched my race video, you saw that. But then right there, I was able to bring it back in to where I was running before. 8:36, mile 14, 8:37. I did slow down a bit, mile 16. I don't remember exactly what that was about, but I picked it up again, another 8:30 at mile 17, 8:45, and now is when the wheels started to fall off. I mean, there were so many people that were slowing down. There were so many people that were walking, and also I was starting to feel it. And I had already started to feel it before. As you can see, my heart rate was up there pretty high. I was in the high 170s. So it had started to creep up. It actually started to creep up into the 170s at mile 7. Boston last year, the hot Boston in 2024, my heart rate was at 170 at mile 5. This year at London, mile 7. Only 2 miles later, I was right back where I was at Boston last year. So my heart rate was up. I was starting to feel it at mile 19. Typically, that's where people start to hit the wall. I wasn't cramping up. I had been taking my gels religiously, so no issues there. It just was the heat was really starting to get to me, and it was just my legs kind of felt like lead a bit. And I looked at my watch and I said, okay. I did the math in my head and said, okay, I have basically a 10K to go. Here's what I need to do. Here's the mile paces I have to hit in order to break 4 hours. So at that point, it was break 4 hours, make sure I see all the iconic sites that were left, and run across that finish line. You can see here, 9:08, so I started hitting the nines, right? The slowest I got was mile 24. That was the hardest mile, 9:45. But you can see there I was running right around 9:20, right? 9 mid-20s. Mile 25, I picked it up a little bit. I only have a couple miles left. Let's see what I have left in me. That's all I had left in me. So 9:34 for mile 25, 9:25 for mile 26. So, I was giving it what I had. And then I finished in 3:54.17. So I'm very happy with how the race went considering the conditions. Way too many people out there. The roads in Europe are narrow typically. And I'm going to tell you in London, they were way too narrow for 56,640 finishers. Broke the Guinness World Record for finishers. Not the best course to do that in my estimation. Just made it very difficult to get into a groove. Made it difficult to get into a pace and just kind of hold that. You're constantly yo-yoing back and forth, slowing down, running around people, having to speed up to get back on pace. Just not the ideal situation to have the best race in those conditions. So there you have it. You know what? I broke 4 hours. I'm very happy with that. I made the right adjustments for the conditions that day, and I'm very happy I did that so I could have the best experience possible. So what do I think about London? I think if you get the opportunity to run it, you should. The reason you should is not to go get a PR, not because it's the fastest course out there, but because I don't know of another course in the world where you pass as many iconic sites as you do on the London Marathon course. I've run Boston, I've run New York, I've run Chicago, haven't done Berlin yet, haven't done Tokyo. New York is amazing, Boston is amazing, but the fact that you run past the Cutty Sark, over the Tower Bridge, run back past the Tower of London, Cleopatra's Needle, London Eye, Westminster Abbey and Big Ben there in front of you, and then you turn in front of Buckingham Palace and finish with it behind you. I just don't know if there's another course in the world that has that many iconic sites for you to pass by during the marathon. And lastly, to be able to experience that week with my daughter is something I'll never forget. To be able to celebrate our birthdays the day after the London Marathon together, to really enjoy everything about it, especially seeing my daughter on Tower Bridge during the marathon, being able to give her a hug and a kiss. That is something I will absolutely never forget. So I think it's a bucket list item that, if you ever get the chance, take it. It's not the cheapest experience. I had to go with a company. I run the globe, so a tour company to get my bib. It's very hard to get in, but you know what? It was expensive, but it was worth every penny I spent on it. The other important item here is it gives me my 4th World Marathon Major Star. I only have Tokyo and Berlin left. My goal is in 2026 to get both of those finished. Ideally, I'll be getting my 6-star medal at Berlin in September of 2026. Before that, though, I want to get back to Boston. I have unfinished business there, so I signed up for a small marathon. A marathon that I can drive to, and a small one, maybe with a field about 200 to 300. It's in September 12th, 2025. It's in Lehighton, Pennsylvania. It's called the Jack and Jill's Downhill Marathon Poconos. I know some out there may feel that these downhill marathons are unfair to get BQs at, but I get it. All I know is I had the fitness to get the BQ and the buffer at the London Marathon. Mother Nature did not cooperate, so you know what? I'm going to take my shot. It's there, September 12th, the last day of Boston Marathon registration for 2026, and if I'm able to get maybe a 10-minute buffer there, say a 3:40 or better, that would qualify me and give me enough buffer for the cutoffs for both 2026 and 2027 at Boston. And then everything else after that is just gravy. October, I'm doing the Marine Corps Marathon, the 50th Marine Corps Marathon down in DC. I'm doing that because I'm a Marine veteran and it's very near and dear to my heart. So can't wait to do that. And then obviously, again, I'm going to be trying to get into Tokyo, and I know how to get into Tokyo in 2026 and then Berlin in 2026. So I want to enjoy those marathons. I don't want to have the pressure of, yeah, I got to go there, but I also want to try to get a BQ. And in between all that stuff, I'm going to continue to race with my SoundRunner Racing team teammates here in Connecticut. And lastly, now that I'm fully recovered from London, back to work, took care of some things around the house, a lot of things going on, but I apologize for this video being a couple of weeks after the race video. I appreciate your patience. Now that I'm back at it, I'll try to get videos out at a quicker clip, maybe once a week, but I appreciate all your patience. I appreciate you sticking with me, and I'm really looking forward to what we have going forward. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed already, as always, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you'll get notified when more videos are posted. Comments, any and all comments really does help my channel. And as always, if you have friends, running pals, co-workers, family members, you name it, that you feel may enjoy the Old Man Van Running channel, please let them know. Thanks again for all your support, and remember, lace up those shoes and let's get out on the roads.